meeting. Thank you all for your attendance today. I'd like to welcome the staff. We've got our General Manager, Jason Brown, here with us, and we've got our Acting Operations Manager, Sam, and as Jono's on holidays, we have me here with Infrastructure and Assets, thank you, me, and Janie in Planning and Cameron in Corporate and Business. So thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you, Tanya, for being here to take the minutes. So I'd like to thank you all for coming early today. It was really good to have our meeting with Paul and to hear just his experience and what sort of work he's been doing over the course of his career. So I think he's going to be a great asset in the area of audit and risk. So there was a meeting this afternoon with a general manager and our manager of corporate and business with our finance leader, Andrew. So that was a very fruitful time this afternoon. So I think Paul's very excited about working over Latrobe Kentish councils. So we'll start with our meeting. We've got the first one, which is apologies and leave of absence. We do have a leave of absence from Councillor Richards, so we will note that tonight. Number 2, declaration of pecuniary and conflict of interest, Local Government Act of 1993. So I remind councillors, if you have a pecuniary interest or a conflict of interest in any of the items on the agenda, you'll need to fill in the form and give it to Mrs. Shaw, please. So we go to number 3, which is the confirmation of minutes. So we have a recommendation that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Kentish Council held at the Council Meeting Room, Sheffield, on the 20th of August 9, 2024 be taken as read and confirmed. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Haig, Councillor Blenkhorn. Has anyone got any questions or comments about those minutes? Well, if there are no comments or questions, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Anyone against? Then that is carried. So we don't have any presentations tonight or notices of motion, or we don't have any petitions. So number 7, we have a response to questions that were raised at a prior ordinary council meeting. We have a recommendation that the responses to the questions from Roxley Filmingham and Clive Bott at the council meeting held on the 20th of August 2024 be received and noted. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Dickinson and Councillor Cassidy. So I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Anyone against? Then that is carried. So now we have public participation. Questions on notice from the public. We do not have any. Public participation questions without notice from the public. So I will note we have one person in the gallery tonight, Roxley Filmingham. So have you got a question that you would like to ask tonight, Roxley?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Just to write a reply to the letter that I received from your General Manager. Apparently, I had to read the letter several times. So I was a bit bamboozled because I was referred to go and ask Mayor Freshney for the questions that I wanted to know about. This was to do with who was the engineer that signed off on the Pushpoint Bridge. That also Councillor Hughes made some inquiry about, and I'd like to know whether you're going to have a look at this bridge after the last flood. It's quite evident that the General Manager never bothered to read either the stenographer's notes or the minutes of the meeting at the Railton thing, because I still haven't received the report on the flood mitigation that Mr Monston said he was going to send me. It concerns me if he had read it. There's $22 million missing, and yet you've got 10 elected councillors here that seems to have missed it. To me, if you lost $22 million, I'd be calling the authorities in. The other question related to why was BridgePro the preferred contractor for the work, because it appears like Wes Young has put in a costing of $4 million, which was rejected, upon a BridgePro quote of $45 million. I hope that's correct. It might have been 4.5 million. It also appears that BridgePro has a history of constant failures in their bridge constructions, And on learning that Mr. Monson left the council, I was told he's gone to work for Bridge Pro. Whether that's true, I'm not sure. I haven't been able to get him to answer him. The thing that also strikes me as unusual is apparently 3 weeks later, the council was.
No.
It's not true. Well, not true.
Could you just give us the question that you are asking so that we can take the questions on notice, please? Because you're giving us a lot of information, but I'm wondering where the question is, please.
Well, the question is, who was the engineer to sign off on the bicycle bridge?
Right, thank you. So that's
Okay.
one question. Thank you. And the other question?
And why would I have to go and ask the mayor of Latrobe questions about the bridge? It's a bit like he's taken over. Are you leading Kentish Council or is the mayor of Latrobe?
Thank you. You know, I am leading the
Well, I
Kentish
thought so,
Council.
but why the general manager would point me in that direction?
We'll take that question on notice. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Firmingham. And if you could give any of that information to Mrs. Shaw, please, so we can have an accurate record of what your concerns are, and then we'll be able to take your questions on notice. So thank you very much. Right, we'll go on to number 10, which is the Planning Authority. We don't have any planning or development applications tonight. Number 11 is the Development and Regulatory Services Department. So we have a Building Department report, and we have, pardon me, a recommendation that the report advising of building and plumbing applications and notifications received for the month of August 2024 be received. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Haig, Councillor Hughes. So are there any questions or comments about the Building Department report?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Blenkhorn.
With the building and, building, oh, sorry, I was going to ask a question of the building and plumbing applications next report, sorry.
Oh, okay. No, well, take that on notice for now and you can ask it later. So, well, that is the building and plumbing applications and notifications on page 9.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's what we're dealing with now.
Yeah, okay, then
So-
that's the question then, like, just under the dwellings, it's got a rule, no, there's no dwellings happening, but under rural resource there's one.
Yes.
And the estimated cost of construction, is that 6,500,000? That
Yeah, I looked at that too. Thank you for the question.
pretty huge development by the sound of it.
I'm not sure. Could I ask Mrs. Phoebe if you can help me out with that one?
That is correct.
It is 6.5 million. Right, thank you. So it is correct.
Just to follow up,
Thank you.
2 years ago, there was another one worth $6.5 million. Is it the same,
As I understand it, it's another stage.
another stage?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Blenkhorn, Councillor Thwaites. Any other questions about the building and plumbing applications and notifications? If there are no other questions or comments, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Anyone against? Then that is carried. So we'll move on to the next one, which is Planning and Development Application Status Report. And we have a recommendation that the report by the Manager of Development and Regulatory Services concerning Planning and Development Application Status Report August 2024 be received. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Lane, Councillor Hughes. So any questions or comments that you would like to ask Mrs. Phoebe as she's here tonight? All right, then there's no questions or comments, then I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Anyone against? Then that is carried. So we'll go on to number 12, Office of the General Manager, nil, Corporate and Business Services. So we've got a Kentish Capital Works update. Andrew Cock, our team leader of finance, has written the report. And we have a recommendation that the report by the team leader of finance concerning the Kentish Capital Works update be received. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Cassidy, Councillor Lane. So has anyone got any comments that they would like to make or questions? It's good to have the capital project reporting so the councillors are up to date with what we're doing with the capital projects. So has anyone got any questions they'd like to ask? Any comments from anyone?
Yeah, I might just note, while everyone's considering their questions, that we are looking at making some improvements, which we highlighted in there, and looking to start to get some information around start and finish times and get back to those principles of the project management triangle, scope, budget and time, and share that with you. As we've highlighted through the report, it is important for us to deliver these projects. It does impede the services or the quality of service that our community gets when these projects aren't delivered or aren't delivered on time. And obviously budget is a pretty important element of that as well. So largely we're looking to become somewhat more transparent with some of those elements, share that with you on an ongoing basis, and obviously seeking support is the key ingredient here. If things aren't going well, then we want to explore that with you and make sure that we're engaging with the community on any part of that as well.
Thank you. Thank you for that update and just that clarification there of the reporting, because the reporting is really important so that as councillors we're up to date with where the Capital Works project is happening. So thank you for that. And I think it's important to know the start and finish dates. And I know sometimes there can be some hiccups through that process, but if there's a regular reporting, we might be able to keep a track of all that.
Yep.
So that's really good. And having that ongoing support so that the team that are looking at these projects have got the support there to make sure that they are being implemented appropriately. All right, so we've got a mover and a seconder. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, just querying some of the dates on some of the projects, like target end date. So what's some of the processes that we'd have to work through to sort of get some of these dates, like we're relying on suppliers and contractors? Is that sort of some of the dates that seem to be stretched out a fair bit?
Yeah, and largely because we're still formulating the program after completing last year's program, and some of the assessment of carry forward, which is some of the items that we'll be talking about in the next item, is important to understand before we commit to delivering these projects. As we sort of practice and use this muscle around our project management, it's certainly going to get better, and our resourcing being lifted up to support these timelines will also be another important part. So the timelines are indicative at the moment while we're going through that assessment, and will become clearer as we get to work through the program and the deliverables. And the other part of that is going through procurement and just testing the market.
Thank you, Councillor Blenkhorn, for your question. Any other questions or comments? Yeah, Councillor Thwaites.
Question. Up Union Bridge Road, there is a couple of internal corners that are washing away, and I've noticed that they've been deferred in this, if I'm reading it correctly. I just wonder whether that's a good idea, because if it's a stitch in time situation, perhaps, that if you don't do it and it collapses, it'll be a much bigger job than if it was maintained before something washed away. I'm not an engineer. I'm just asking a question. Is that a good idea?
Could you answer that, do you think?
Probably have to let the team have some visibility of that one, take it on notice, Don, and come back to you as to the merits of that one being deferred and not immediately responded.
Because it is in there, staged reconstruction of roadway at the gully crossing failure. So it's on the second page of the report there. So I think if we look at that, it's got that it would be hopefully completed by by the June next year. So
and it could be that that's going to happen earlier than predicted here as we make our way through the program. So
I guess all it's saying there, it's going to be held off till the end of the year.
Okay, I guess I might have panicked when I read that and thought, that might mean it doesn't get squeezed in.
Oh, sorry, Demi.
It may also be weather related and to do that sort of work within the summer period rather than in the winter period.
Yeah. So I think that's why it's been held off till the end of the year. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Councillor Twaits, for bringing that to our attention. So has anyone else got any questions? So it's very detailed, and it's good to have the titles at the top with the target start date and the target end date. So hopefully the project stage and status. So hopefully those dates there can be a real guideline for how the projects are started and how they are completed. All right, if there are no other comments or questions, then I shall put it to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Anyone against? Then that is carried. So we go on to 13.2, which is the capital budget review. And once again, our report author is Andrew Cock, the team leader of finance. So we have a recommendation that the report by the team leader of finance concerning the 24-25 capital budget review be received, and that the council approve the amendments to the 24-25 capital budget contained therein. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Haig and Councillor Lane. All right. So have we got any comments or questions that anybody that would like to make or to ask any questions? There are 4 areas there with the corrections to the capital, the amendment, the request for budget amendment, and the revised Kentish capital budget. So there are 4 documents there. Has anyone got any questions I would like to ask about any of those documents? Oh, Councillor Cassidy.
Just the roundabout.
Right.
It looks like it's been completed. I tried it out this evening, was very impressed, very nice, and it looks like it's come in under budget. Which is also, I'm very impressed.
Thank you for bringing up the roundabout, because that has been certainly a talk around the town and a topic of conversation around the community. So from what I'm hearing, that everyone's very, very happy with it. We're getting letters into the council about how good it is. So I think that's really a positive. We had one letter that came in from a lady at Claude Road who said that she comes in now, she can come up Main Street, go around the roundabout and park outside the IGA, and it's so much easier for her. So, I mean, these are the sort of comments that we're getting, and we just hope that the local community do value and take responsibility for the roundabout. Unfortunately, there is a black mark around the roundabout at the moment, so we're hoping that we don't see any more of those. Councillor Lane.
I like how we're waiting for a couple of bollards that will stop anybody going off the corner, but they've chosen ones that are in a heritage look.
Yes.
It's not just a bollard. I mean, the ones that are there for public safety that are yellow, absolutely got to have those. But the ones there, they've chosen that it enhances our look as well. So right. I'm very grateful that it is.
Thank you. So any other comments from those 4 documents that we've tabled here tonight?
Yeah.
Councillor Blenkhorn, can you tell us which one you're referring to?
Correction to capital budget carried forward.
Yeah, the first one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a query. Like I was at the understanding that we made a contribution towards the electronic scoreboard at the rec ground, and it was in the vicinity of 20,000 that we made a contribution, but it seems to have blown out now to 53,000. I don't know where that. I can't remember sitting at a meeting and throwing another $33,000 at the electronic scoreboard.
I can't answer that, Councillor Blenkhorn, but we can take it on notice unless anybody can help us out. Thank you, Jan.
I happened to look that one up today.
Yeah.
So that amount is carried forward, but council have actually only contributed $8,000. So that will be a budget amendment to reduce that allocation.
8,000 from the council.
The cricket club received a grant.
Yes, a cricket.
42 odd thousand.
Yep.
So council contribution is 8,000.
Thank you for that clarification. Good. Anyone else got a question or a comment? Right. Oh, well, if there are no other comments or questions, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour?
Aye.
Anyone against? And that is carried. So we'll go on to Infrastructure and Assets Department, nil. Operations Department, nil. Information. So 16.1, Council Forums. We have a recommendation that information on topics discussed at the 20th of August and 10th of September Council Forums be received. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Lane, Councillor Hughes. Any comments about what we discussed at the forum? I would just like to make one comment. We did talk about the the Legat General Meeting and Annual Conference on the 4th of September. And when we had our special forum here before the meeting, we looked at 5 recommendations that were going to be tabled at the conference. Well, 4 of those were passed and 1 wasn't. So the psychosocial safety insurance got through from Burnie Council. Working with vulnerable people card from Devonport Council got through. The reimbursement of costs associated with care of a dependent was not carried. That was from the Georgetown Council. Substantial commencement of work, a definition of that was carried. That was, and then the wild feral nuisance animals, pigs and goats and deer. So they were wanting to lobby the state government for legislation and operation reform regarding those, and that was from Central Coast Council, and that was carried as well. So I just thought for those that weren't at the meeting, and we've talked about those here, so I'll let you know the result of those at the meeting. Good. So has anyone got any other comments about the forum? All right, well, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Anyone against? Then that is carried. So we now go on to our delegates report. So on page 21, we've got a list of meetings that I have been to. I might just make a comment here that I went to the Book Week Assembly on the 21st of August. And I would like to say now that our principal at the Sheffield School has resigned from the Education Department and is taking up a position with Tas TAFE as the education leader of primary industry and agriculture, which will be a wonderful position for him. So now on InfoStream through the Education Department, they are looking for an acting principal at the Sheffield School. So, yeah, that'll be a great loss to the school with Jamie Skirving leaving. He's done an amazing job in the acting position since Mr Daly was on leave. But I think it's time for him. He saw this job and he's a farmer at heart, having grown up on the farm, and he's very passionate about education in the field of primary industry and agriculture. So I think this job with him with Tas TAFE will be really good for him. So I'm going down next week to their final assembly to do a presentation to Mr Skirving on behalf of the School Association.
What date's it? No.
Next Wednesday at 1:30. So, and then we do have a list of from Councillor Lane of hers as well. So we have a recommendation that the delegates' reports be received and noted. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Hagan, Councillor Cassidy. Do we have any other reports from around the table, please? Councillor Hughes.
Right, for a start anyway, I'd like to thank Madam Mayor Kate Haverley coming down the main chute to chair the meeting and that down there. So,
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be down there. Great group of people down there.
right, the grand final on that was played at Oldston Ground, and Sheffield come out on top, beating North Mountain by 4 points. I didn't think they was going to do it, but like geez, they come up and done it. And right on the last few seconds, Aaron McNabb kicked the winning goal. So they won by 4. Reserves got beat by 44 points against Wednesday Vale. This Saturday night just gone, the football dinner and trophy presentation at the Sheffield Hotel. There was live members and footballers as well. It was 120 people attended. It was a good roll-up. And the best and fairest was taken out by an Aaron McNabb in the seniors. Susan, he kicked 125 goals. So that's a great achievement for that. And reserves was taken out by Nick Barrett from Deloraine. He used to play with the Deloraine Football Club. This is the third time he has won this award. Shane Campbell, Super Campbell, they call him. He kicked 1,024 goals for the season, but he kicked 300 with Mole Creek when he played there before he came to Sheffield. Next one is Mount Roland Landcare. AGM was held, and they've got a new president, new vice president, a new secretary, and a new treasurer. I think it correct me right, or not, Don? Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And Greg Taylor's taken up the president of that. He's been doing the secretary for a long time.
I think Councillor Thwaites and I had the privilege of being there on Sunday afternoon, and it was a great meeting, and they've got a very passionate group of people.
Yeah, tomorrow they've got a meeting with the Parks and Wildlife on feral cats, and it is a big problem, the feral cats right around the whole of Australia. And the federal government's putting $60 million towards to eradicate the feral cats, which is good. Tree planting, Saturday the 7th, Wilmot there near the western shores of Lake Barrington and Four Falls. They planted 150 trees there. Next weekend is out the Thompson's White Hawk Creek at Barrington, and 5th of October is out at Kerry's Road, Warson's doing it out there. So the tree planting's going really well on that. And they're doing a marvellous job with the trees around the district, so it's really good.
Thank you for your report, Councillor Hughes. Well done. Thank you. Has anyone else got anything they'd like to report for the last month? Councillor Blenkhorn.
Yeah, just like to mention the passing of a resident of Broughton, Phil McDonald. A brief illness. I don't know, a lot of you might know of Phil, but yeah, he was a very avid letter writer to all media, all around Australia, The Sun, even that lives in The Sun, Mercury, Advocate, and wherever. I know that he was a very passionate supporter of Broughton and liked to see things money get spent down the bottom end of town down there. I know I've copped the wrath of Phil a few times. Like he wasn't scared to put a bit of a comment in the media at times. But yeah, I sat down with him just a couple of weeks ago and had a few quiet beers with him, and he was quite knew his predicament that was ahead of him, and I said he had a good life, and yeah, that he was going somewhere. And but yeah, I know the previous mayor was very friendly with Phil and actually used to call in at times to have a chat with him. Yeah, just pass on the thoughts and to his family, yeah.
Thank you for that, Councillor Blenkhorn. Well, I didn't know that, so we certainly extend our sympathy to the family on Phil McDonald's passing. Thank you for letting us know. Councillor Cassidy.
Just want to mention we had a really good turnout at Parkrun on Saturday, and people after they came through, they could see the devastation that from the wind after having been shut down for 2 weeks, and they just reckoned the council had done a marvellous job getting the track all cleaned up and cleared and nice and safe for people to run through. But it is absolutely a lot of devastation up through that bushland with things, and the council did do a fantastic job, because I reckon every second step there was a tree that had gone under. So the Parkrun community would like to say thank you very much to the council.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I was talking to Desi Binns last night.
Oh, right.
She wants to write to the council. She wanted, who do I write to? Because I really want to write and say what a wonderful job the council had done in cleaning up Sykes' sanctuary for the Parkrun. So she was very, very complimentary of the council, which is good. So thank you for letting us know about that and passing on thanks from the committee down there at the Parkrun. Good. Anyone else got any comments or questions? Councillor Thwaites.
Just a little add-on from Councillor Hughes. Just like to thank you, Madam Mayor, for attending the Mount Roland Landcare annual meeting, and doing the selection of officers. It's a duty that needs someone special to do it for any community group, and you've always put your hand up. So thank you very much for doing that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure. And so and I have to really think now, who's who, you know, I've got it the same as I went to the men's shed on Thursday. I've got to make sure I go around the table and make sure I know everybody's name, because I don't want to get caught out. I did on the men's shed, but yeah, thank you for that, Councillor Twaits. It was a pleasure to be there, and just to acknowledge the work that all the land care group do. And Kristen Lang is certainly doing a lot of work there too, so that's what she does as well within the group. All right, any other comments or questions? Well, we have a mover and a seconder, so I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Anyone against? And that is carried. So we go on to 16.3, which is the council decision status report. We have a recommendation that the August 2024 status report of open council meeting decisions be received. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Lane, Councillor Haig. So have we got any comments or questions on the council decision status report? No questions or comments? Councillor Twaits.
Madam Mayor, it's great to see that looks like work is being done on maintaining this status report. So thank you to the officers concerned. It is a bit frustrating when you come in and something hasn't been updated, even though you know something's happened.
Yeah, that's
but no, it's good that it's making its way onto this. So thank you to those officers.
So good, thank you for that comment, and it's always good to acknowledge the work that the staff are doing, so that we are well informed as to what's happening in that area, so that we can make any comments or ask questions, because this is the opportunity to be able to do that. So I second that comment of appreciation to the staff for that. All right, are there any other comments, questions? Then I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Anyone against? Then that is carried. We have the Sheffield Community Information Evening Notes. The meeting was held on the 29th of August. I have a recommendation that the notes of the Sheffield Community Information Evening held on the 29th of August 2024 be received. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Lane, Councillor Twaits.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, I wasn't there.
You weren't there, so Councillor Lane and who was there? Councillor Hughes. Thank you. So any comments about the Sheffield, those that were there? Has anyone got, oh yeah, Councillor Twaits.
Comment. Yeah, thanks. There was a question from Michael Montgomery.
Yes, that's right.
About the energy return on efficiency. Energy return on investment, sorry. And I never heard of that. And I looked it up, and it's been bugging me ever since. So, I don't know where that question's come from, but it'd be interesting to see what the response that comes out is.
Yes, we were not able to answer the questions that he asked at the meeting, and some of it was about waste, and so Councillor Richards was able to go down and have a discussion with him, but some of the questions were a little bit in depth, and we were wanting to have a discussion with him about his concerns or the questions that he was asking. So we did take some of those questions on notice. And it's always good to see that community members are quite passionate about the environment. So we took those questions on notice, and we'll be replying, getting back to him on that. Thank you. Any other comments about the Sheffield Community Information? And I know our General Manager, Jason, and our Corporate Business Manager were there. So that was really good to have you both there, just to meet the community too. Councillor Hughes.
Maybe next time we'll have something in the town hall like that, because I had a job to hear this person.
I know.
And can we have a microphone or something like
that? That question has come up a couple of times, and when I remembered on Thursday afternoon of the meeting, I went, I should really get hold of Samantha and ask her, but it was too late, and I didn't want to put her under any pressure when she was there to be taking the minutes for the meeting. So that is something that we will be taking note of and trying and have. And there was, I think it was Leslie Begg has got a microphone and a little amplifier, and she said she'd donate it to the council so we can take it around with us. So that could be something that we can follow up as well.
Especially us old blokes are hardy.
But it was very hard to hear. And if people have a very soft voice
That's right.
and you're trying to understand their question, it was very hard. Yes, so I'll take that on notice about the microphone. Thank you for that, Councillor Hughes. Anyone else got a, yes, Councillor Blinkhorn.
Just a comment. So I'll just look at the attendees. So fair to say that's probably one of the smallest town hall meetings we've had for a while.
Yeah, and I think if it was when the weather was getting pretty bad, because it was that weekend that we had all the wind and the rain and everything else. So I think I was quite pleased with the number of people that were there, considering the weather that night. It wasn't very pleasant. So hopefully, and we have always looked at that, but we still want to make that provision to the community, and so that they know that we're happy to meet with them and they've got in. It's usually the same people often that do come along, but the ones that do come are always very appreciative of the information that we give them and the fact that they've got the opportunity to ask questions. So, but I think the weather had a lot to do with it that Thursday night. Councillor Hughes.
With Ruby and that, I thought her presentation was pretty good and that. And she is going around different organisations and that. She's already been to the men's shed and geez, you know what they talk about and that was really good. Especially the first one was about the wheels and that. And we're coming right up towards the last one. We'll be prepared for passing away, so the funerals. It's good. And also too, we got a new rural health nurse too now.
Yes, I met John.
Yeah, John.
He's
Yes.
a rural health nurse.
And he's very good in that. And you know, he sits there and listens, takes our blood pressures.
Good.
So mine was down this time. I was good.
That's good.
And
That's good
it
news,
was real
Councillor
good,
Hughes.
and especially he's certainly in the community and that with the role of market and also the volunteers of the hub as well. So he's really, you know, fitted right in the community.
And he was at trivia last night too, so that was important.
Yeah.
Councillor Lane.
As a rider to that, the team that are in Kentish House have been very verbal about what do they offer down there. The community group expo is on this Saturday
Thank you.
from 10 till 2. That's going to be excellent to see the services that are just at hand if we need them. So I'm glad that the advertising for that, social media and in the voice, and has been really out there. I'm hoping lots of people will take advantage of that sort of thing.
So this is not Kentish House organising that. This is the
but I think
council.
they're going to be there. It's just that sort of information that gets out because of, you know, the threads that can lead to support. So, yeah.
That was real good.
So what happened with that? There were 24 stalls there on Saturday, and there were Darren was able to get a grant of $5,000, so they were able to get Fiona to do the event management, and so she's been able to organise it all and do the publicising and all that sort of thing. So we've got 24 stalls, individuals all coming along on Saturday.
Can't wait.
Well, unfortunately, Councillor Twaits and I won't be there because we've got a strategic planning day at Tandara all day. Haven't we, Councillor Twaits? But I will try and get up there if I can, but I won't know until we see how our meeting goes on Saturday. Any other comments about the Sheffield community meeting? Or if there are no other comments, then I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Anyone against? And that is carried. Committees of Council nil, Council Joint Authorities and other committees nil, urgent business nil, closed meeting. I have a recommendation that the following items be discussed in closed session. Could I have someone to move that? Councillor Lane, Councillor Hughes, and we have 5 items there. So could I, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Anyone against? Then that is carried. So this brings to a close the open session of our September Council meeting.
What time is it?
All good, yeah.